Oh, it's sugar. It's sugar and carbs. I'm like, it's only like 5 grams of sugar. No, you need to be 3 grams or less. I'm like, what the fuck?
Greg Q just said no audio. How is it now, buddy? I think it works now. Again, I'm fucking jumping in between two pieces of software to see if it works, and it's all fucked up. You still there?
Yeah, it's working. There's audio.
It is now. I mean, for us it was, but I don't think it was for them. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for saying that, Greg Q. I'm switching between the software, and we've had technical difficulties. The last stream we did, we got cut off. Boom, right at the very end, just shut down, and we've had difficulties in the past. So I'm experimenting, which is why we're on tonight. So anyway, Lamprey, what do you say? You're starving yourself?
Yeah, I'm gonna starve myself. You know, I'm at that age where my father just went full blown obese and never rebounded from it. So I'm starting to panic, even though my genes are from my mother's side. You know, so I'm like trying to think of like ways of. I've never dieted. I've always just watched what I ate. You know, and maybe because it's Thanksgiving, perhaps because the temperature's dropping, I put on weight. But you know, I'm trying to eyeball if losing 15 or 20 pounds is even feasible.
Well, when I got back to Canada, man, I weighed about 180 pounds, which is what, like 85 kilos, I think, which is normal weight.
Mm-hmm.
It's normal weight for my height. But after a year, I fucking just swolled up to like 200. I weighed 215 pounds.
And how tall are you?
I'm about 5'11", 5'10", 5'11".
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad. Like I wasn't like extremely obese, but I was, I was a lot heavier than I should have been. So, I did I did a fast, the intermediary fast, where you fast for like 12 hours a day, and outside of those 12 hours you can eat whatever you want, but from a certain time for these 12 hours you just don't eat anything. And I dropped
Mm-hmm.
I dropped I dropped 20 pounds in 6 months just from that. Just from that.
Okay, you know it's weird though. What you say is you fast for 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what I've been doing my entire life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just eat one huge meal a day. That's it.
What time do you eat?
At night, usually.
You don't eat breakfast?
Nope.
Really, eh?
And for lunch, I'll have like a bowl of soup or like a, like bowl of soup, fruit. I don't know, something that's well under 500 calories, and then I just usually eat like a fucking pig when I go to about a couple hours before I go to bed. So I don't know whether it's me just getting older. I think that's part and parcel of it. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to fit back into some of my clothes. Because all my clothes now don't fit me, and I've had these clothes for like the past maybe like 10 years.
Well, try eating a breakfast, but not eating all day.
Oh, I can't. Oh God, help me. You can't. I knew a guy while I was in Cambodia. This guy was a pharmaceutical representative. He like traveled around the world selling pharmaceuticals from India, because obviously India is huge in pharmaceuticals, and America pharmaceutical industry doesn't allow Indian pharmaceutical companies into the U.S., so they're blocked. And we used to have these long conversations with him about the whole, India pharmaceutical versus American pharmaceuticals. He told me do that also, just swap, change it completely. And he says you'll eventually get used to it. And I just told him, like, I've been doing this for 30 something, if I'm going to be 31 in a couple weeks. You telling me to do something completely drastic like that, I mean, I'm not going to be happy with it. And I prefer going to sleep with a full stomach. You go to bed, in peace knowing you ate something versus going to bed hungry.
Right. Well, you don't want to go to bed hungry. Definitely eat before you go to bed.
Well, I had a yogurt and I'm drinking a huge glass of tea right now, so I'm trying to suppress my hunger.
Well, there you go. It's fucking not easy, man, when you get old. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I want to nip it in the butt now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this way, if I lose 20 pounds, I can go back and eating like a fat slob and gain that 20 pounds back and do it all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for men listening, when it comes to your weight or your diet and your health, the older you get, obviously, your metabolism slows way down. Way the fuck down. One of the biggest things that make men put on a lot of weight is alcohol.
Right, I started drinking a bit more this past year too.
Yeah, when it comes to men, especially single men, you'll hit a bottle or you have some beers, and it kind of becomes something that it becomes a bit of a habit, and that'll fucking put on the pounds real fast. Greg Q says ride a bike. I ride 15 to 20 miles a day. That's great, man. That's absolutely
But that's
fantastic.
amazing. What do you do for a living? The fuck?
If
I just put in 3 hours of overtime at work. I had to get up I get on the train I'm up at 6:50, sometimes 6:45. I got to get on the train at 7:15. Okay, I walk into my office between 8:15 to 8, depending if I'm getting coffee or something. So between 8:15 and 8:45. Okay, then I work from 9 to 5. I'll put another 3 hours of, between an hour to 3 hours of overtime, and I get home at around 8:30. So you tell me where I'm going to fit in a 15-hour bike ride.
Yeah, well, it depends on your schedule for sure, man. Red Pill Millennial says you lost 8 pounds this month. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. 8 pounds in a month is really, really good. And that's the thing. If you're, huh?
Yeah, that's really good. 8 pounds is really good.
Yeah. He says he finds eating a smaller breakfast and eating more protein and fat, but lower carb. Yeah, absolutely. Lower carbs is the way to go.
That's basically what I'm going to do. I'm cutting pizza out. I'm going to cut. I haven't eaten carbs the past 3 days.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. It's just boring. Like, my dad's like, oh, I got chicken parm. I got eggplant parm. I made a thing of, manigot. I'm like, fuck, I want to eat that. Amazing.
Speaking of diet, I want to introduce the listeners to, what's his name? The raw meat, raw dairy guy.
Oh.
Sverige. You guys really need to check this guy's channel out, man.
Hey.
I'm actually gonna put it in the link. But this is the guy that ate a raw cow heart in front of vegans.
You fell out. I don't know where you went.
Huh? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're breaking up.
All right, we're losing contact. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I hear you. Yeah, New York pizza. I'm thinking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
All right, he says New York pizza, bro. You're gonna fail at that one. Greg, if you want to know something really funny, right before every live stream, I send a photo of pizza to Ayam to show him which type of pizza I'm eating today.
I see it, and it looks fucking fantastic, man.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
It looks fantastic.
The hardest decision I make during the week is deciding where I'm gonna get pizza from. Any great option.
Say that again.
The hardest thing I have to decide is where I'm gonna get my pizza from before I do a live stream.
Jesus, I wish I had that problem.
Am, you have no idea, man. It's a plethora of just amazing pizza, and they all compete with each other. Again, free market.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? Okay, so the opening a pizza shop in New York is relatively easy, right? And the markup on making pizza is really high,
Right.
and so there's a ton of pizza parlor shops, all within a 2 mile square radius from where I live. There's uh, about 6 or 7 within 2 miles where I live. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, about 6 or 7, right? So they're constantly, in competition with one another, right? So, and what happens is let's say in that 6 or 7 mile radius, the guys who make the pizzas, they quit and open their own pizza shop like within the 5 or 6 kilometer radius. Right, so
Nice.
that's basically what happens. So they'll start copying each other's ingredients, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna tweak this. I'm gonna add this to the sauce. Now I'm gonna get cheese from this location.
Right.
So they all fight amongst each other, and then they give you tons of coupons. Buy one get one free. Get a free regular pie and a 16 ounce of soda, or get free garlic knots. They do all these type of promo gigs to get you into buying their pizza. And quality ingredients make a huge difference. And the overriding majority of the pizza makers themselves are all immigrants. They're usually from like Turkey or Greece or El Salvador. Those are the three pizza makers that are in my neighborhood. One's from Turkey, and he's been doing it for like 25 years making pizza. And I known him my entire life. His name is Nick too. He's a great guy, really cool guy. He's a gypsy. He's descendant of a Turkish gypsy. There's him. Then there's the El Salvadorian guy, and then there's a guy right off the boat from Italy cooking pizza. Two right off the boat from Italy, guys making pizza, which is great.
Well, then,
Awesome.
and that's that. And the free market gives you that variety of choice.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, it's amazing. Gives you that variety of choice.
So the new thing now is, get this. Because my family loves pizza so much, we got a brick oven pizza maker in my backyard. So my father goes into the pizzerias, and all he does is buy all the ingredients, and he keeps doing it over and over without actually making it. And the guy says, how about you just invite me over, pay me, and I'll cook the pizza in your backyard. My dad goes, you'll do that? He goes, yeah, just give me like a couple $100. I'll come over and just start cooking for you guys. He's like, awesome. So this guy comes into my backyard, and he just starts making pizza for my family.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's good stuff, man. It's a lot of work. Making pizza is a lot of work. It's not easy. Greg, you got to do a pesto and fresh mozzarella pie. Try that one. See if you can get a guy that cooks pizza that can do that for you. Fresh mozzarella and pesto.
Nice.
That's a good one. And I'm partial to Sicilian pizzas, which is nothing but carbs. Nothing but carbs. I was telling you about the Albanians I work with.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one Albanian opened a pizzeria in Astoria, Queens. You ever heard of Astoria before?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so he opened a pizzeria in Astoria, which completely bombed and failed. And he goes, "What kind of pizza do you like?" I go, "I eat Sicilian." He goes, "You've lost your mind. That's nothing but bread." I go, "I know, but it's so good." He goes, "You want to gain weight real quick? Go have a Sicilian pie."
Yeah.
And then me and Sovereign, we do well done Sicilian with red peppers, onions, and sausage, which
Nice.
is, dude. So it's like a barbecued pizza with sausage, peppers, and onions on it, which is just it's just tons of salt. You gotta make sure the key ingredient with pizza is more salt. So the saltier it is, the
saltier the better.
saltier the better. But you know what happens is women get involved in pizza, and women ruin pizza. How do they ruin pizza? They're gonna have the they're gonna have the barbecue slice. I could get that fucking pizza out of my fucking face. The barbecue. Oh, I'm gonna have the sushi. Oh, I'm gonna have a taco. I'm gonna have a salad pizza. Can I get the salad pizza? Like as if that's gonna cure her spare tire roll. Her secretary spread is having a salad pizza. Pizza's not. And you pounding a bottle of red wine before you go to sleep at night, sweetheart, because you're miserable because no one of you losing weight. I'm sorry.
But are these women overweight? They're not. They're not the ones going to Santorini, right?
No, well, you're going to Santorini at 25. When you're 40, you're obviously going to be a complete mess. All right, so he's saying my mic is cutting in and out, your mic cuts in and out. Okay, give me a second. Let me fix it here, okay?
All right, go ahead.
Let's take a look.
Lamprey is going to fix his mic. And since we're on the topic of eating, again, it comes down to weight and losing weight. If you're eating the pizzas that Lamprey's eating, man, you're gonna gain weight real quick.
Don't say that. Shut up. Can I live in my Disney World fantasy, bro? So listen. So my plan is I'm just gonna have pizza or carbs Saturday nights or Friday nights.
Well, there you go. That's a good idea.
That's kind of what my game plan is, and just starve myself for the rest of the week. And also, I cut back on going to the gym because I work too much. I'm not. I used to go to the gym 5-6 times a week. I'm down at least three, maybe 2 times a week, and I just stay at the gym for like 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours, eh?
Well, I gotta make up, because I haven't been there all week.
Right. Obviously, yeah.
And you know what? Well, here's the other thing, guys. Women don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about your six-pack. Let me tell you something. If a white knight is a guy on Tinder showing off his six-pack, when in fact women could care less about that.
No, they if you want to really impress women, get a six-pack in your wallet.
There you go.
That's how you impress women. I mean, that's understood. That's red pill knowledge. I'm sure everybody here knows that. I understand it. And you don't even have to have
open a weed shop. That will get you laid real quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It'll get you laid real fast. I had a guy. He's a Muslim African. He's from East Africa. East African Muslim guy. He was in my business class, and he wanted me. He approached me at one point. I actually told him. I told him about halfway through the class, I told him I was a Muslim. Because when I found out where he was from, I kind of assumed, I'm like, you must be Muslim, right? And he's like, oh, yes, I'm Muslim. I said, oh, yeah, really? I'm Muslim, too. And you know what he did when I told him that?
Did he say, uno unto?
No, he slapped me in the back of the head.
Why?
Because I'm opening a weed shop.
Hey, he's got a...
I'm opening up a marijuana shop.
No, so... what is it called when the Muslims enslave the Christians? What is it called?
When they enslave the Christians?
Is it a fatwa? You're waging a fatwa on them.
Fatwa, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. So
if you ever see him again, tell him it's a fatwa. I'm winning this battle. I'm lying to the stupid little Christians.
Well, exactly. Well, he slapped me in the back of the head as sort of it was like a gesture, a token, a token of how you're opening up a weed shop and you're a Muslim. That's haram. It's haram. And then he went into all this stuff about hamr and the definitions of the words, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, man.
Which country in East Africa is he from?
I can't remember the country. I can't remember. It's obviously close to the.
Was he from Wakanda?
No, he's from the close. He's from the. He's near the Arabian Peninsula. I know that, and that's what I.
Oh God, Djibouti.
I can't remember, man. But the guy.
There's only a couple over there.
The guy's been doing business his whole life. Like he's sold shit. He's got a fucking company in China right now. He's got a company with employees in China. And he said,
yeah, they know how to make money.
they know how to
Yeah,
hustle,
Greg,
man.
I was gonna say Somalia, Djibouti,
It's probably Somalia.
maybe Zamunda.
But
Want
he,
to impress women? Get them prosciutto, fresh mozz, and roasted pepper pizza. Listen, man, you can if you really want to impress women, you got to do a really nice Italian restaurant. I mean, that is a win-win. I mean, women like to be fed.
oh yeah,
After they're fed, listen. Well, speaking of being women getting fed, and we're gonna get into this because we are going to do Confessions of a Sex Patriot. That show will be done in the near future. What I used to do is when I used to bring the girls back from the bar, big thing of tortellini and pesto waiting for them. So they've never had tortellini and pesto ever. Like some girl from Cambodia, she doesn't know what Italian food is. So I used to always have cold pesto and cold tortellini sitting in the fridge, and I go, try this, and then I'm like, no, what is that? Ew, oh my god! So then I go on, have a piece of this, and then their faces would just light up like this is the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life. So that was a big one I used to be able to win the chicks over with.
and that's when you were getting laid.
Right. Well, you can still do it. Look, women don't know where to go to eat. They really, truly don't. They go for the ambiance, what the nuance of some stupid boutique bullshit in a downtown center where you're getting ripped off, and the restaurants, the prices for a meal are sky high because what that place is really doing, what's built into that price for the meal is his rent.
Right.
$40 for a meal, just know that a big portion of that meal is going towards the cook, the owner's rent. So, and that's a big problem in New York City now. In New York City, there's just so many restaurants, a plethora of restaurants, all different types. Overriding majority of them are Italian. And when I was growing up, most of the Italian restaurants in New York City were really good. Like you're getting a huge portion. You're going to be paying a lot of money, but it's going to be fantastic. You're going to be happy, leaving that restaurant. Now the portions are smaller, the prices are higher, and the reason why is because that restaurant does not own that building or the land that it sits on. It's going towards the rent. And everyone knows the rents in New York City are really high now, so that's part of the reason why a lot of the restaurants in New York City are not that good. So if you really want to get a good meal in New York, you actually have to go to Long Island now. You got to go to the Bronx and parts of Queens and Staten Island versus Manhattan.
Well, the way to a woman's heart is through her hypergamy.
Well, yeah, spend $200-300, right? Yeah, absolutely. My Cambodian girlfriend used to get all bent out of shape that I would never leave a tip in when we're at a restaurant. I go, I'm in Cambodia. I am not in America.
Yeah.
Why do I have to leave a tip? A tip is an American concept.
Yeah.
Leave money. And the whole idea was if I leave a big tip, right, it's to show, that she's screwing a guy with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. That's what my Cambodian girlfriend liked for me to do. And I go, no. And I used to tell her, I go, it's either I'm going to leave a huge tip for the waiter or waitress that you'll never see again, or I can give this money to you. Choose wisely. Which one do you want?
Well, but that's the whole concept of hypergamy is it's not even necessarily the fact that you have the money, it's the impression that you have it. And that's really how women work. It's about impressions. You don't, I mean,
what? Yeah, go on.
Well, this is something I learned in Asia, is the fact that I didn't have to be rich. I just had to look rich. And looking rich meant being a Westerner. I mean, it was part and parcel of who you were. They assume it, right?
You just shit money.
Yeah. You're not one of us. You're from the West. You shit money. Therefore, I want to be with you. And it's an incredible power as a man. And it made me respect what wealthy men have. What they have.
You fucking white privilege bitch. What are Cambodian women like? Dear God, that's a loaded question. All right, probably the biggest negative aspect towards Cambodian women and women of Southeast Asia, and you probably could lump. Actually, no, you can't lump China into it. Southeast Asian women possess a limited time horizon. What does a limited time horizon mean? It means living in the constant present.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any emotional attachment towards what you did before. So if you were to buy her a house one day, the next day it's starting all over again. The house was yesterday.
Yes.
I don't care about the house. It's what you have to do for me right now. I don't care about tomorrow, and I don't care about yesterday. It's instant need and want. And that is probably the biggest downfall of. And I discussed this with Molyneux during that live stream, and that was one of the big things I really wanted to convey in that live stream when I was speaking with Stefan Molyneux is really the differences between Western women and Asian women, and that's hard, man. You have no idea. It's like the movie 50 First Dates. 50 First Dates. You remember all that Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore movie? That's what it's like dating a Cambodian woman. Like waking up to a complete stranger. And, who are you? I'm like, we've been together for the past 4 years. I'm leaving now. I'm taking all my stuff and running away. I go, you've been with me for 4 years. You're gonna leave over that little bullshit, and she will leave and disconnect you altogether.
Look,
Western women not so. Western women will, if you screwed them one time, that's it. Permanent ownership, regardless of anything. That's it. I gave it up to him. He's my territory, and that's basically a Western woman. The Western women have more of an emotional attachment to something in the past. There's more of a historical emotional attachment towards whoever it is they had sex with.
Well, that's very romantic, but I don't think it's quite that honest, Lamprey. I mean, they want your money. Well, they want to know they can get something out from you, even though you screwed them from 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, look, the West, as far as my experience is concerned, the Western woman mantra has always been, "What have you done for me lately?" That's what they say. That's the mantra they live by. Women live by that mantra. I don't care if you're in the deep jungles of Cambodia or you're in the concrete jungles of New York. All women will repeat that mantra. What have you done for me lately? Lately, right. And I guess it's subjective on what the lately is. I just believe that Western women have more of the what did I call it? It's a girlfriend credit or marriage credit. Like if I do X, Y, and Z now, she'll leave me alone for the next 3 days. That seems to work much more with Western women, where with Cambodian women, oh hell no, it doesn't work that way. I mean, if I really, when I first started dating a Cambodian woman, I went in thinking like I'm dealing with a Western chick. So I'm like, okay, if I buy her this, do this for her, and whatever else, she's gonna leave me alone for a couple of days, and I can go hang out with my friends. Nope. 5 minutes later, she's calling me asking, "Where are you?" Dude, I used to have, oh my God, you ready for this? Yeah.
I didn't tell you this. PTSD when answering a phone call. So when someone calls, I have an anxiety attack because how much trauma she put me, how many times she used to call me in a single day. She would call me, and it's a Cambodian thing. It could be a guy, also it can be anybody. She'll call me 20 times in a row until I pick up. And it's just to ask something. Did you eat something? I go, you call me 20 times to ask if I ate something. Are you fucked up? What's wrong with you? Why do you answer my phone? I go, I didn't answer the phone because you called me 20 times. If I didn't answer it the first time, I know you called me. I'll call you back. You don't have to call me 20 times in a row. And not just my Cambodian girlfriend, my Cambodian coworkers did it. The girls at the bar used to do it. People who would call my number by accident would call me 20 times in a row. It was wild. But yeah, that's it's I love these stories. Listen, I'm saving a lot of those stories for when I do the Confessions of a Sex Patriot. But I'm giving you a little bit of a tip of the iceberg when it came to dealing with Cambodian women. Yeah, it's and Rico, yes, I was lucky. You lucky gold whore. And let me tell you something. That's a whole. Where did lucky come from? I'm saving that story too, because you lucky.
Okay, look.
Do you know I do that? I do that with Chinese people in New York City. Like if they see my cell phone number and it's like a bunch of sixes in a row, and when I give them my cell phone number, they're like, oh, because I go, yes, lucky.
How many sixes is it?
It's 4 sixes in my cell phone number.
Nice, 666.
Right. So when I give it, it's mixed up, but there's 3 sixes in a row. So then when I give it to a Chinese person, their face lights up, and I go, yes, lucky.
Too bad it wasn't sevens. If it was sevens, wouldn't it be better?
Oh, Ayam, I don't know what it was like in Indonesia. But if you wanted phone, you can buy a phone number in Cambodia straight up.
Same as Indo. Same as Indo.
So if it's got a bunch of sevens in it, forget it. You're paying through the nose for that number, man.
Oh yeah.
It's really expensive to have numbers that are like in a row. Super expensive. In New York, it doesn't matter. Like no one gives a shit like what your number is because we don't believe in that superstition. We don't believe in sorcery and lucky. That doesn't matter. That's an untapped market, by the way. If Verizon and T-Mobile were smart, but yeah. So when a Chinese person sees the phone number, their face, like a deer in headlights. You see the eye, their brow lift. Oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, lucky. Here's my business card with the lucky number on it.
You know what they called that in Indonesia was nomor indah, which is beautiful number. Beautiful number is what it means. And
shit.
Yeah, man, and you pay for it. Like if you want a beautiful number. I remember I worked for a guy when I was teaching. I worked for a guy, this Australian guy who was trying to set up his own teaching business there. And I think he's been pretty successful actually at this point. He got married, so who knows where he's at now. But
not so lucky.
No, but he had a number that was all eights. It was like 9 eights in the number. And he's like, you know how much I paid for this fucking number, man? For 9 eights.
Hey, man, it ain't cheap for those numbers, man. I was looking at the price. They would give me like this big sheet with all the phone numbers on it, and there'd be a price next to it. And like the shit numbers, like 18723, like it's just like numbers that aren't really like easy to remember. They were like peanuts. Like you can get that number for like nothing. But if you got like a 888-1111, like forget it. You're paying like $50-$60 for that number.
Huge, man, huge.
How long did you live in Cambodia? I lived there from 2013 till early 2017, and I did a month stint in 2012. And I didn't tell Ayam yet, but I'm going to tell him now. I will be gone for 2.5 weeks in February. I'm going back to Thailand and Cambodia.
He's going back.
I'm going back. It's official. I bought my ticket today, actually.
I knew it. I knew that was coming up, man. I knew it.
I had to. Where am I going to go? Everyone's telling me go to Colombia. Everyone's saying go to Colombia. I'm like, I don't know anything about Colombia.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now
that's
my dad wants to come. I go.
Bring him.
My father. Dude, he had 4 years to visit me. He didn't visit me once. I'm like,
so
you're
bring
not
him.
coming with me.
Just bring him. Go, look, let's go. I'll teach you the ropes. Fuck, if my dad said, I want to go to Indonesia with you, I'd be like, let's fucking go, buddy. Right now. Let's fucking go. Holy shit. I could get him into so much trouble. So much fucking trouble.
He's going to be too red-pilled. He's going to have a heart attack.
Maybe. But But then he would die on he would die with a smile on his face.
This is true.
And there it is.
My dream is to die in a rice field in Cambodia underneath a fucking tree.
I'm gonna die on a beach in Kalimantan. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, but I want to die like a cat. Like, I want to make sure no one finds my body. I just don't want anybody to find my body. I told my brother, I go, dude, we're at my grandmother's funeral, and my grandmother's wake and funeral, and I just grabbed my brother. I go, listen, man, I don't want this. Everyone's talking about this, that, and the other, and how great they are, and they're talking about their six-pack abs and their Instagram. I don't want this. Okay, I'm gonna die like how our cat did, where you're never gonna find me again, and don't you try looking for my fucking body.
Well, that's easy to do in Southeast Asia.
This is true. Do you know why it's so easy for bodies to disappear in Southeast Asia?
Why is that?
Well, I'm gonna here's a here's a little bit of a really cool info. So while I was in Cambodia, I was you're not gonna be happy, but I was banging a Western woman, the Irish woman. I told you about a little bit about her and how crazy she was. But through her, she worked for the UN, and I met all these like hoity-toity UN people, and I met the guy, the American, who's in charge of all the MIA and KIAs in Southeast Asia from the Vietnam War. So his job was dedicated to finding dead bodies from the Vietnam War that never came back. What a sick job. So me and him became really, we didn't become good friends, but we had coffee and lunch like 3 or 4 times, and we had a lot of conversation, and we were discussing about the why can't they find any of the remains of the genocide, the Khmer Rouge genocide, Pol Pot, and the veterans from the Vietnam War, the MIAs in the Vietnam War. And he told
their bones and dust.
The ground in Cambodia, the ground is so acidic that if someone was to die in a rice field, their body would be gone in like a month.
Oh, yeah,
it just
absolutely.
disappears so quick.
Well, not only that, but it'll be eaten by insects and animals so fast. I mean, the density of just insects and animals that eat carrion, they're everywhere there. You still there, Lamprey? Did I lose you? No, you're still there. No, like, yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. Hey, what I was saying.
You're coming in all double weirdy. Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah, OBS is doing the same shit it's always done. It goes off, comes back on.
I'm hearing. I'm getting like a reverb echo.
Well, apparently we're back now.
Why do I hear 2?
Well, this is the reason why I've always had an issue with the OBS software.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
I'm gonna add. Look, I'm gonna add Truth Messenger to our talk. Are you ready for that?
You have to fix that.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it yet.
Does anybody else hear that? There's 2 AM speaking.
I'm just gonna throw someone else into the mix. The stream is continuing, it says. But this is the point.
All right, you guys talk. I'm gonna go grab a cigarette.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna come on yet. Hold on. I'm getting Truth Messenger to come on here, right? Yes. All right, so Lamprey's gone to get a cigarette. I'm going to get Messenger to come on and talk because we haven't had him on and he keeps begging me for to come on. So we're going to have him come on. I hope you guys can still hear me. Hello?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. Just wondering if that was you or Messenger coming on. But back on the topic of where we left off, um, everything disappears. Everything disappears in Southeast Asia. Your bones disappear. Kill a rat, leave it on your floor, and it'll be eaten to the bones by insects. That's what I love about the jungle, man. The deep jungle. It's beautiful. Everything just disappears. Absolutely disappears. There's nothing left.
All right, I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, cool.
I invited the Truth Messenger on. Just waiting for him to join the call. The invite's been sent, buddy. Come in if you want. But I was just saying to the listeners as you were gone, one of the things I love about Southeast Asia is that it's a jungle. And in the jungle, everything disappears. Everything gets eaten by everything else.
Well, what really truly inspired me to visit Cambodia, if you're gonna think this is fucking nuts, but it was the band The Clash did a song called Sean Flynn on their album called Combat Rock, and I used to love that song when I was young. I was like 10, 11, 12 years old when I first heard that song. And that really inspired me to visit Cambodia because it's about Sean Flynn, a famous photographer. And he was a son of an actor. I think he has the same name, Sean Flynn. And it just made me think of people that, Westerners that gone missing. I had this absolute fascination with missing people in, other countries. And that really was a big inspiration for me to move to Southeast Asia.
Nice. Well, you know what the opposite of the jungle is? The opposite of
the concrete jungle?
No, the opposite of the real jungle, it's fucking Mount Everest. It's like the hyper cold where when you die, your body stays there forever. And people see it all the time.
Yep. There's a lot of bodies on Mount Everest.
Yeah, and one of the best quotes I heard about that was, all of the dead bodies on Mount Everest were at one point people who had a real drive to live. And there they are. They're all there, all on display. If you want to disappear, go to the jungle. If you want to last forever, go to Mount Everest. That's where you'll last forever.
Well, it's also the dead bodies on Mount Everest. They can never bring them down.
No.
So now they're actually markers.
Yeah.
So as you ascend up Mount Everest, each dead body is like a waypoint.
Yeah. They're a marker for where they are. Absolutely. But that's the thing, man. The cold, you'll stay there forever. When it's hot enough, you'll disappear real fast. Real fast. And that's why you and I want to die in the jungle. We don't want to die in the cold. Fuck that shit. I mean, I know New York's not as cold as Canada, but it's fucking cold enough here.
It's pretty cold here now. It's 0 Celsius right now. I know that's nothing for you, but whatever. It's cold for me.
No, that's cold, man. That's fucking cold. 13 years in the jungle, that's cold for me. That's really cold. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. There's snow. I have to shovel walks.
Well, I'll be there in a couple months. I definitely need a bit of a break from this place. So.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to kind of like a remote island in the Gulf of Thailand. I'm going to spend about at least a week there. So I'll spend a week in Thailand, and then I'm going to visit my friend who built a house and see how he's doing. Just catch up with some old friends, hang out with Hardy, and just see what's going on. The thing is like I can travel anywhere for those 2 weeks, but I really don't feel like relearning shit during traveling, because when you're on a vacation, you need a vacation from the vacation, which I don't want to do. And going to Cambodia and Thailand is easy for me because I already know how long it's going to take me to get to point A to point B. I know how much a can of Coke is. I know how much the girly bar is going to cost me, and I know where to eat, and I know where to stay, and I know the roads where I can get on a motorcycle and go wherever the fuck I want.
And you know how to say, how much will it cost for you to suck my dick in Cambodian?
Yobo mana.
Pretty simple, man. I understand that. I understand that logic. Eventually,
I'm gonna die in the arms of my woman, my best friend, my woman.
There he is. There he is.
God, that's hilarious.
I got you on. Okay, we got the messenger on. He's wrenched too, and yeah, he was begging.
Yeah, I was begging like a woman.
Not like a woman. You weren't begging like a woman. You were begging like a 350-pound man. Is that more accurate?
Yeah. So what's going? So I'm hearing you through the Skype here. Can you is my mic too loud or anything for anybody?
You're good.
No, you sound fine,
But
man.
to the listeners though, I mean, am I out of control mic wise?
I think you're all right.
I'm not a listener.
Well, what do you guys think? Truth Messenger, he sounds okay? He's in there?
Hi. Just checking to make sure my mic's not going astroblast.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Hey, Lamprey, I'm getting some static on your end.
Me too.
That's because I'm on 4G. That's because I'm using 4G right now.
Yeah, I'm getting some weird static, like Electro is fighting Spider-Man.
All right, give me a second. All right.
Okay.
No, but that could have started happening since I've come on though.
No, it was before. It was before. I could hear it before. Yeah, the static was happening before. Now it's gone. Anyway, Messenger, what's going on with you?
Oh, everything's just incredible. Life's like a giant bowl of cherries with chocolates covering it.
Right.
It's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life. You?
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful life. For the listeners, Truth Messenger is an old friend of mine, and he's been on the show before. And he's relatable to all of us in the sense that he's been through hell and back when it comes to procreating with the wrong woman. Am I right?
Well, I mean, if this is hell, then I can't wait to get to heaven.
No, this is it, man. It's done. Life is hell. Rico says going to bed soon. Yeah, man. This will be uploaded later unless there's any problems. It should be fine. Thank you for coming in, Rico. I appreciate it every time. Every time you're here, appreciate it. But yeah, Messenger. Your life is a story of hell.
Well, I don't think entire life isn't. I'm hearing echo right now. I shouldn't be. Let's see here.
Make sure you got your headphones on, man.
Yeah, I do. I'm hearing myself with a double voice, because I'm talking on Skype, but then I got the YouTube muted or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I shouldn't be hearing an echo. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, hey, man, I was a pretty content individual. In fact, I was going back 3 years. I'm 45 years old. And even after I had my first child, things were pretty decent. But before I had children, which was in 2013, now it's 2018, I didn't really have a lot of issues. Don't have issues with the children. I love my kids, but do I see them? Very rarely. And in the last 3 years, I've gone through a full court trial, like from start to finish. Like I went to court like 15, 16 times and then had a full 5-day trial, like the whole thing, right? Witnesses, the whole bit. And, that just tore me apart because I was on the right fighting side where I just wanted to share my children. And so up to that point and going through the court process and actually seeing somebody that I actually was with for, half a decade, had 2 children with, never had any actual physical issues, no family violence, suddenly become this monster, and her family completely turning on me too, but just to keep my kids from being parented and being loved by me. So I didn't know that could destroy a strong person, but sure enough.
Did it destroy you emotionally, financially? Yeah, it's a disaster.
Everything.
Well, it's just things where you're like, I don't know. I've gone through a lot of shit. I'm pretty streetwise my whole life since I was a kid. Raised by a single mother, but that also gave me a lot of freedom. Like from the age of 8, 9, 10 through 15. Like I didn't have to come home at 7 o'clock or be in bed by 9 or anything else. I didn't have a lot of rules. I was allowed to go out and kind of become a man on my own. Had an older brother who looked out for me for a while, but I'd never felt anything like it feels. Even now, I'm at the tail end of everything, with courts done and all this other stuff, and I'm still not seeing my kids properly. And there's nothing much I can do about it because I can't financially keep going, and I can't emotionally keep going just so I can share, more than 3 days a month with them. It's absolutely insane. So that's the only thing that's ever really come at me. And there's a lot of harsh things that have happened to all the men on this channel and yourselves as well. You just keep pushing through. But that one particular thing, I never knew that it until I had my kids basically stolen from me. I never understood what that felt like, and fighting for them and trying to do the right thing and still losing.
It's powerless. It's powerlessness. Powerlessness.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I've dealt with everything in my life and never really had any problems. In fact, I was like the backbone of many of my friendships. A strong guy. People come to me to talk to listen, to strategize, to invest time in.
To beat up people, to beat people up that other people couldn't.
I mean, yeah, man. I help people out on so many levels, and then all of a sudden now I'm just this fucking 345-pound skeleton of a man. But I'm 6'4". I'm not like a giant obese man, but
you're a large man.
But regardless of that, I'm a Pisces, and I care about people. So it's been really hard. So that's why I listen, and that's why I come to the channel, and that's why I like to hear people talking about stuff that matters that no one's really talking about. I mean, some people are, but
well, for the listeners, Messenger's been a longtime friend of mine, and he's a large man. Like if you met him, you might be intimidated. I always joke you should have been a professional wrestler. You and John Little, you should have been professional wrestlers.
Yeah, but I actually like humor. I like laughing. I like laughing. Laughing is my favorite thing, and that sucks when your laughter gets taken away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
you're just a big teddy bear.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter in the eyes of gynocentrism. You know what I mean? Like he basically went through the nightmare system that every man listening now knows exists, may not have experienced it, but knows it exists, and have heard the stories. And you do not want to go through that. Greg Q says, been there too, brother. So we do at least have someone listening that understands what you've been through, Messenger. And I understand, but again, it's a story that has to be retold 1,000 times, 1,001 tales of the nightmare. I mean, it's a fucking goddamn nightmare, man. Look, everything you've told me and that we've talked to privately, I understand it 100%. 100%. Most people won't, but it doesn't matter because it is a fucking nightmare. Now, Lamprey's lucky because he's still single. He's never impregnated a woman by hook or crook. It hasn't happened. So he hasn't had to go through that kind of bullshit. But to go through it, nah. Nobody's prepared for that. No,
well,
man.
And the thing is, the thing that I've learned the most out of it is like reflecting on all of it. First of all, I'm still here, which means that through the worst of it, I didn't off myself. And when I was depressed, I didn't make any big mistakes and go and do something crazy. You know,
you didn't become a statistic, which a lot of men do.
Well, I just fought through it because I'd never experienced it before, and I felt all that pain. And I was like, this is pretty crazy kind of pain, like. And then so all I've done, and I've like you know, I've been isolated for the first time in my entire life. I'm a very social person.
Mm-hmm.
So because I moved to this small town where she's keeping my kids, town of 3,000 people, smallest place I ever lived. There's one gas station. The whole town shuts down at 8 p.m. You know, there's like one bar. Regardless, it's not my town. So I've isolated myself and conditioned myself. I've been alone with my dog for 28 months here in this house rental. And only seeing my kids like 2% of the time still. It's like, this is fucking crazy. And I live 5 minutes away from my kids' house. And they're like 4 years old and turning 6 soon. So they're just young kids, so you can't really involve them in what's going on for any reason.
No, they don't understand it yet. But
well, you don't. I don't say a word. But the point is, I try not to be jaded. Like, I'm not a jaded guy walking around saying, hey, man, this is a woman's fault. This is the system's fault. This is this. I just been through that machine, and I'm like, holy shit, I survived that machine. And the only good thing I can do now is to, which I'm about to do. I'm about to move and go back and attain full-time employment back where I'm back in the city I was living in, and get back to playing music and being on stages and writing songs and being social and championing my own life again, because I'm important too. If I don't take care of me, then my kids aren't going to have a dad in fucking, another year if I don't take care of me.
Yep.
So I'm not jaded against any of the shit. I'm just like, holy shit, I can't be jaded because it's happened to thousands of other dudes. And I'm like, that's impossible. But at the same time, that's why I'm not jaded, is because it's happened to so many other people. It's like, I want to start a revolution and actually change things, and I just don't know where to go. These fathers' rights groups don't really help me, to figure that out. I'd like to actually make some serious changes somehow to help other fathers.
Well, what's your experience from these fathers' rights groups? And I'm going to bunch them in with the MRA, because the MRA talks a lot about pushing agendas for men's rights, legal rights especially, when it comes to associations with women, when it comes to children, marriage, divorce, all that. They're pushing for it, but you yourself have just said it doesn't help you.
Well, that's because I think what's with these, I'm part of like 3 or 4 serious ones, but the thing is, it's all just typing back and forth and like expressing empathy basically, and making, trying to make kind of plans that are never come to fruition. But no one's doing any like group video calls and like actually getting to see each other's faces, because we have something in common and identify each other. So that's not just a woman on the other end of the line. When you're typing, because you don't know unless you fucking talk to somebody, right?
Yeah.
So these groups I'm part of, there's not really an option. Like, people don't really go that I've seen that are talking live and talking about stuff vocally, like on Skype or anything else.
Well,
so it's all just
in this group. In this group messenger, there are no women, and there will never be women. And in fact, I want to make a shout out to Warrior, MGTOW Warrior, one of our moderators. The last live stream we did, he cut off a woman who tried to infiltrate the group just like that, real fast. Great job, man. There's no women
I'd
here.
be curious just to see what the animal has to say.
Which animal?
The one that we cut off. If there was a woman trying to get in on this.
Nah, but not in the chats, man. No way. No fucking way. I don't want to hear their opinion. I don't want to hear their opinion. What's that?
See, I don't find that healthy. I want to see, just as a reminder, fire bad. I know fire bad, but we need a reminder why fire is bad.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I saw her come in, and she used my name and said, "Hi, I am serious," and then fucking Warrior, boom, cut her off. beautiful. That's what I want to see. I don't want that. If a woman's got an opinion, I'll invite her to the show. She can be a guest and talk and get and be a part of being criticized by men. But other than that, no. Not in the chats. No, I don't want that. You know, and the next thing that happens is you've got you got a half
grandmothers. You got.
Well, we're gonna see who the white knights are.
Well, then you also get the fucking half men, half women. What do you call that bullshit?
Well, we have a double stuffed Jay comes on once in a while.
Yeah, but he's a guest. We have him on as a guest. You know, he's a guest. He comes on. He expresses his opinion. People can say what they have to say to him. I mean, he's put in the spotlight, and we're allowed to criticize him. But I don't want no woman or no sodomite or no transgender bullshit coming into the chats and trying to spam and make their opinion. No, that's not what this channel is for. Not at all. Not at all. So, Messenger, this place is a very... I hate to say the word safe space because it's very... It's connected with the feminist lingo. You know, and the leftist lingo when they say safe space. I need my safe space so nobody criticizes me. But in reality, I want it to be a place where men can talk. All right? And we don't need that bullshit because honestly, both of you, honestly, there is no space for you and I. There's no men-only gyms. You can't find a gym that's for men only. But there's tons of women-only gyms. There are so many women-only spaces.
Women just want to infiltrate everything. It's so true.
That's all they want, man. I mean, as soon as you give them an avenue, they're going to come in and they're going to try to take it over for their attention. Example. Excelsior example.
Oh, there's no women in Freemasonry. They don't get to get in.
Well, I'm not a Freemason, so I can't verify that claim.
That's because they probably thought you were a woman. They didn't let you in.
However, Messenger, one of the most beautiful things that has come up in social media recently is the thought audit. And this is women who show their tits on Instagram for money. They're not paying taxes. And now men...
See, but how do you vet them? Like, I don't understand if, like, you know, if it's a girl on Snapchat, like, what do you report the Snapchat to the IRS? I don't know how it works.
I have a screenshot from Rushvi that I will share with the viewing audience and you guys. Give me a second here. I'm going to share the screen. And here's Rush V. If you report a thought to the IRS and they collect taxes from her, you can receive up to 30% of that amount. There is actually a financial incentive to defeating thoughterry. And below he puts a screenshot to the IRS webpage, Whistleblower Informant Award. So if you go to the IRS webpage, you can find the Whistleblower Informant Awards section of the website, and you can tell the IRS that thoughts are taking money from simpish blue-pilled men and not paying taxes on it, on their own pussies and vaginas and tits. They're not paying taxes on it. You can do it. And there it is. It's on the screen. That's the best I can do right now. Look it up. And the most beautiful thing about this is that these women who have taken over, again, this has to do with our platform of men only. One of the reasons, and the main reason this came up, was because one man, and I don't remember his name now, I'll try to look it up in a second, but one man came up, and if anybody in the chats knows his name, and he went on a tirade. He was a gamer. He was a male gamer, went on a tirade, and his tirade was this: why are all these fucking women coming into our gaming channels and gaming platforms and showing their tits for money when all we want to do is play games? But they're taking the lion's share of the revenue and the likes and the audience because they're willing to fucking show their tits on camera. And this man went on a tirade. And he said, fuck this shit. We just want to play games. You come into our space and flash your tits? Go fuck yourself. That's where it started. And then from that man, it linked over to Roosh V, and it became viral. It's like, these chicks aren't paying tax on invading our fucking spaces. And I think it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that's why I say, this must be a male space. It has to be. If a woman can jump in to a Twitch stream, play a game that she doesn't even fucking like, but open her fucking blouse and show her tits to get revenue, fuck her. She needs to pay. Absolutely. Those thoughts need to pay taxes.
I don't understand how this doesn't get classified in some type of sedition or prostitution law. Like that's what I don't understand. How is this even legal? You see what I'm saying? Like,
is it? We don't know.
Getting strange.
Is it legal? I mean, is it legal to fucking just go on to a... Remember, Twitch is a platform designed and based around gaming. Who plays games? 90% men. Why do they play them? Because they like playing them. Women come on.
To get away from women. Same thing like the military. Guys are in the military to get away from women. Now women are in the military. Now they got to be in the foxhole with you, putting on makeup.
Exactly. Ugh. Exactly. That's the whole point, is women invading male spaces. It's a platform. It exists. And it has to end. It absolutely has to end. And this, the thought audit is a beautiful way to make this stop. It needs to stop. It really does. And again, that's why I don't let them come in on our chats. And in fact, the woman that came in on the chats, that warrior just eliminated right away, and it was beautiful. I'm glad he did it. I know who she is through a different platform. But she thought she could just come in and say hi and everything would be fine. No, that's not what we want. Because the moment you allow that...
Do you know what our talking points are?
Yeah. Fuck, you're like the fucking Grinch, man.
Yes.
Except it's not Christmas. It's not Christmas you're stealing.
There's no Christmas for thoughts. I'm sorry. There's no thought Christmas. Thoughts think it's Christmas every day of the year. No, it isn't. Sorry.
All right. Well, look, I thought we were going to do this for only an hour. I'm going to disconnect. We'll save this for Friday night, where we're going to do the vacuum part 2. You guys can keep carrying on. I got work in the morning.
All right. What are we at? We're at an hour and 13 minutes. All right. All right. We'll keep it going for like 10 minutes, and then we'll shut it down.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Take it easy. All right. Well, it's just you and I now. Messenger. I just want to share a few of these thought screenshots with the listeners. So let me share the screen. This is a fake Donald J. Trump tweet. We will have a wall and the thoughts will pay for it. This tax evasion has gone on long enough. Here's another. Brittany, this is one's Roosh V. Brittany Ventney, who has received over $50,000 this year from online beta males, has locked her account because she's scared of being reported to the IRS. It doesn't look like she intended to report the income. And this is another beautiful thing about it. These women that are being reported to the IRS are hiding from the IRS. They're not saying, oh my God, I didn't know, or here's my money, I need to pay. No. They're running and hiding because they're breaking the fucking law and they know it. That hoe owes taxes.
Well, there seems to be a lot of people that are owing taxes on every single fucking level of humanity in every country, including Canada. Good people, bad people, people that are running, people that are not trying to run, people that are behind. There's a lot of tax evasion going on, especially for business people, depending on who you are.
Yeah, but if you're a thought, you get away with it. And now it's over. Like, it needs to end. Absolutely. Traversable MGTOW's in the chat. He says, stripper, waitresses, hookers, and internet girls all don't pay fair taxes. And many other female jobs, if you tip in cash, it's untaxed. Exactly. If you and I have to pay tax, why are they allowed not to? That's the whole point. It's not about... It doesn't matter if income tax is a shit system. What matters is that you and I have to pay it and they don't. Fuck them.
Well, a lot of musicians got away without paying taxes on their busking money or show earnings and different things for many years until a bunch of things were created in Alberta especially, but in Canada, probably in the States and a lot of places where they come after, they even come after, you know, just a musician who's making pennies on the street, or sometimes you might make $100 in a day or whatever, you know. But eventually,
it all has to come back. It all has to come back, man.
Yeah, then a system was put in place even in Lethbridge, a city of like 90,000 people, not super large, but where buskers had, like, it's all of a sudden you couldn't just go in front of stores and stuff. You had to, you know, talk to the owners, and they would make sure you had your busker's license. You need to pay you $30 or something like that for your busker's license, and then report what your earnings are, right?
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's pretty crazy. That's because most people that are making a decent living aren't out busking. I mean,
no, but if you're earning money as a wage, you have to say, I made this amount of money for your taxes. I mean, it comes back in return. And the most ridiculous thing about it is that statistically, this is a fact, is that women pay less taxes than men. In fact, a huge amount less. So the women, these thoughts that are making money by getting blue-pilled beta males to send them $25 a month to see their tits, those women are making, not only are they not paying taxes, but they're getting tax back.
And then there's the single moms who are doing that.
Oh, they're doing it too.
Even young ones. And I mean, I'll tell you one thing. Like, sometimes when you're on YouTube, obviously you're doing your thing, and you know, YouTube has algorithms that kind of remembers what you like to look at and what you don't. So I have a lot. Very rarely do I get taken down a rabbit hole because I listen to decent music. I watch videos a lot, like music videos. I watch some UFC stuff, some documentaries. But every once in a while I get taken down the YouTube rabbit hole, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? So I'm just sitting there, like, this probably 3-4 days ago, and I'm like, checking out some videos, and then all of a sudden, I'm not sure what related me to going to this video, because I don't go looking for videos of like what you're saying, these thoughts, or I don't need to go look at tits on YouTube and whatever.
It's mostly Instagram and other platforms like that. That's where they exist. Okay,
that's fine. But after you were talking about this tonight, this is why I wanted to tell the story, because I was just like, okay, and all of a sudden this video popped up in one of my suggestions or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck's that? It looks like a woman. It looks like a woman bending over in the 90 cleaning her house or something, like, and it says, and the caption was like house cleaning 101 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty weird. So I clicked on that. I only needed to watch it for about less than a minute to realize what was going on. And because I clicked on that video, then more videos pop up on the right, and I'm like, no way. And I like what you just said about women infiltrating the video game places and doing this and doing that, showing their tits. I had no idea. I'm 45 years old, almost 46 in March, and I'm like, suddenly on YouTube, I never even knew these videos existed. And I'm not going to continue watching them. I watched about 5 of them, about 3 to 4 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
except for the first one for a minute, because I was like, this is crazy. So you're telling me, and all these videos have like 3 million views,
Yep.
3,500,000, 1,600,000, and it's just women, like single moms, women. Some of them have their kids in their videos.
Yep.
They're like 10-minute videos of teaching people how to clean their living room or clean their house. So what they do is they just toss a bunch of kids' toys on the floor, and then they have the camera set up, and they're dressed in these shorts that go right up their ass, and the titties are hanging out, and they're like cleaning. And then they start picking up the stuff they obviously tossed there themselves, and like slowly doing it and like showing you how to like pick stuff up and clean. They're like, it's a new way of making money on YouTube for single moms, I guess. I was like, holy shit, because the views on these videos are crazy, and it's not even sexy. It's actually degrading and disgusting. I was like, I couldn't believe that they would go to that level. Like,
Oh no, they will. Absolutely.
But with all the equality, with all the women that are trying to make changes, just for themselves as human beings, they're being bombarded, and all their shit's being ruined by these women that are doing this stuff. It's like,
Well, it's not.
I don't see it. I don't.
It was never about equality. That's the whole point. I mean, look,
Yeah.
hypergamy rules in the female mind, and this is a red
I
pill.
understand.
This is a red pill understanding of MGTOW men, is the fact that hypergamy rules in the female mind. There's no unicorns, man. And you and I have had a discussion, many discussions, where you've argued with me that there are unicorns. They exist. But
No. You must be thinking about someone else. I've never. Don't even put those words in my mouth.
I swear.
I know what a unicorn is. No, we've been drinking a few times, and you might have assumed that.
Right.
But no, I've never said, "Oh, there is a unicorn." Which I know what a unicorn is. The perfect woman, who's just like, she's almost like a guy, but she's hot, and she doesn't do anything wrong, and she's always there for me. Come on. I mean, I know what a unicorn is. Never met one.
Yeah, the female mind is a female mind. It's hardwired and biological. And not only to that point, the fact is that Roosh V, I've been watching a lot of Roosh V's videos ever since the thought apocalypse. And I think Greg
Right.
Q tried to say that in one of the he said the thoughtopolous, the thought apocalypse. I've been watching a lot of his videos since that. And one of the things he said to me that really made sense, man. And this is a guy I've never had a problem with. However, a lot of people that write for him despise MGTOW. A lot of the PUAs that write for him, they don't like MGTOW. But I've never had a problem with Roosh V himself. He's a very intelligent man. And one of the things he said in regards to this thought apocalypse was that there's always a need for whores, for hookers. There's always a need for loose women. It exists because of male sexual drive. It's always going to be there. You can't eliminate that. And that's not the point.
Just 1 second though. When I was bringing this up about these, it was pretty obvious to me, because at least two of the 5 videos I watched, I didn't watch the full videos. The women actually have their children, like a child present as they're cleaning up with their that's when I was like, okay, who am I? Because I don't watch this kind of shit. I came across it, and then I was like, what the fuck? This is exactly the kind of shit that MGTOW is telling me about that happens that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But this is on YouTube though, and they're getting millions of hits and shit, and I'm like thinking to myself,
And they're
my
making
God.
money. They're making money.
Well,
off
they're probably not paying tax. Of course, they're not paying taxes
No,
either.
they're not.
But I couldn't believe it, because I have a lot of men that do things like, I'm a musician, just like you play music and you're a musician. I've made a shitload of videos. I record music. I do this and that. I play on stages, but I've never stood there and just like hung my dick out too, and like bent over and had a hole in my ass. You could see my asshole, and like tried to like show myself off, and do anything.
And had your
Whether I'm
kids
a good
there.
look-
And
or I never, just saying, like, I don't see guys doing this kind of shit ever. Like,
No, they
even
don't.
the trannies don't do it. It's just single white women and fucking, that's it.
Well, and back to what I was saying is that when Roosh V mentioned this, and he said that there's always a need for whores. There's always a need for prostitutes. I mean, sex sells, and it always will. You can't eliminate that. Of course, women will argue until they're dead to make that a part of natural economy. Sure. But the point was, and this is what he said, yes, there's always been prostitutes. There's always a need for it. But in today's age, especially in the Western world, the concept of a prostitute is now the norm for women. That's the norm. For them, that's the default. A prostitute used to be a sort of on the fringe, very few women that were there that would do that kind of thing, that met this sort of primal need. It existed. It always will exist.
It was a gift from women to men.
But today, all women, and I mean all women, now see that as their go-to. That is who they want to be. They flourish towards it. They run towards it. It's not a small niche anymore.
No, because it's still because I think what happens with the feminism and everything, and like they get calling men out on everything and trying to fight, get not just equality physically, but in the workplace, all that stuff. Well, the jobs are there. The sweat and blood and tears are there. The sacrifice is there for any woman who wants to go and work in the mines or work up north, work on the oil rigs, work on high bridges, on high buildings, construction. You name it, like all these danger jobs. The work's there. They go and get it, and then realize, but they don't, because there's easier money to be made. The same as why some guys don't do that work. But the women can, just like you say, they can start up a channel and bend over and clean their living room and get 3 million views and probably get paid 20 grand.
And not pay taxes. And that's the whole point.
Taxes.
Greg Q says Simpson cucks will watch anything that shows tits and ass. And that's a part of the problem. But it's not just a problem of men. It's a problem of our society. And women, when given the opportunity, and this is my argument, if you give women free will and free reign to exploit their number one asset, which is their sexuality, if you give it to them without any checks or balances, there's no stop. It's a train without brakes. And every woman...
there's a reason why. I don't think when this phrase came up I don't know if it was in the 60s or whatever, but a phrase came up about you fuck your way to the top, in a job, you fuck your way to the top. So, but most guys can't fuck their way to the top because their bosses are dudes. Like you have
even
to
if
earn
their
that.
bosses were women, they couldn't fuck their way to the top, man. There's no fucking way.
I'm just saying that phrase came about, and it's not like I think every woman does this. There's no way.
Every woman doesn't do it, but every woman has the potential to do it when it's given, when they have access. And this is the whole point of NAWALT. You hear the concept of not all women are like that. Not all women are like that. Men say that all the time. No, all women are like that. If you give them access to it, they will use it. That's their nature. It's undeniable. It's observable. It's repeatable. You can see it. It's not a mystery.
So when you hand a man that option, only certain dudes will do it.
Maybe a few, but that's it. That's it. But with women, it's something that they will, and this is why a lot of MGTOW men say repeal the 19th Amendment. Because if you give women that freedom, it's over. It's like opening Pandora's box. When you open Pandora's vagina, everything flies out and you can't close it again. It's done. That's why there was always limits, man, in religion, in classical education, in classical culture. There was a limit to what women could do and who they were. And it was based on their biological identity. And now today we say, nah, let them do whatever the fuck they want. And look where it's led us. It's led us to your situation. Well, it's led us to your situation.
Except I've always had dogs, right? So even now, like I just had to go check on my dog because There's so many deer, like right outside of my yard where I live on this valley,
Mm-hmm.
up on this ridge. There's wild animals everywhere all the time, man, in this fucking town. So he just peers out the big window there, and so I went and checked them out. But that's the good thing. So at the end of the day, though, it's still, as long as you got a decent dog, or you got something to keep you.
Well, if you allowed your dog to just roam free, where do you think he would go? He wouldn't come back.
Dude.
It's the same with children. I mean, you have to discipline children.
Oh yeah, but my dog understands to come back. I let him out all the time with no leash. He goes walking down the fucking dirt road here, wanders down in the bush, comes back.
Yeah, you train him. It's the same with children. I mean, with children, you can't let children do whatever they feel like doing. I mean, you have to have some kind of curb on their behavior. And it's the same with women. And again, I've said this before in my chats. I have been a teacher. I've watched a 13-year-old girl throw a tantrum. And I've watched a 35-year-old woman throw a tantrum. And there was no difference. Zero difference. Biologically, women emotionally peak at about 13 to 14 years old, and after that, it's steady and it stays the same. Some women gain intelligence through experience. Some become doctors. Some become lawyers. But they'll never evolve past that initial emotional development of a child. And I think that's observable. I think it can be repeated, and I think many people have the same experience when it comes to women. And I would push that onto my own mother. I love my mother.
How come in the Western world or wherever else, when people get married, like a grown woman and a grown man, they have the backing of their peers and their families, and everyone's rejoicing for their union. They step up to the plate there, and there's the priest or whoever's going to marry them. How come at marriages, based on what you just said, and a priest should have, or the person who marries people should have knowledge of, because they always say till death do you part, and they make you make all these promises and stuff. They should also include this in their speeches in marriage unions forevermore. They should, with what you're saying there. Okay, sir,
it doesn't work.
Sir, do you understand that you're about to marry a child, and
you're going to take care of her for the rest of her life? Which is why there's a throwback to that. When in my experience in Southeast Asia, there was a throwback when I got married there. I understood. I saw it happen. Women there are a woman that is not married by the time she's 25 to 30 years old. It's game over. She's a disappointment to the family because she's going to be with the family forever. And their whole point of raising her was to kind of like push her on to another man. Like, you need to get out, be someone else. The men would go on and create their own lives. But the women were always sort of a burden to the family. It's like, we've raised you since you were a kid. You haven't got married yet. What are you doing wrong? Why are you still here?
Right.
They want them out. I mean, because it's understood in those older traditions and cultures that they are children in their behavior. And nobody wants to take care of a fucking 10-year-old for the rest of their lives. Nobody. I mean, I watch my own son grow up, and now he's 12, and he's starting to be a little bit disobedient. He doesn't want to do what I say all the time. He's becoming his own individual person. When it's a
well, that just happened with my 3-year-old. I got to spend 2 hours with him today. My 3-year-old just did the same thing. I mean, she's her own individual person. She's trying to be, and she won't listen. But then my 5-year-old is more obedient than I can ever believe. And it's not obedient because I run a tight ship or something. It's like I just have a 3. So there's a difference between maturity and then the biology of being an infant, or whatever, right, or a toddler.
Well, maturity.
12 years old. 12 years old is pretty fucking in this day and age. Like when I was 15, I thought I was a man. I wasn't a man until I was about 19, I don't think. But when I was 15, I thought I was. But what I didn't. But the kids these days, the knowledge and just everything, the access to, there's so much shit. Life has advanced so fast in the last 25 years, 30 years, whatever. A 12-year-old is like a 17-year-old now. If it's, that's what I assume.
Sure, that might be true.
Not in their maturity, but in their environmental maturity.
Well, what they're exposed to.
And what other kids are talking about, depending on what kind of family they're from at school.
Well, what they're exposed
everything.
to. Absolutely, I understand that. But I mean, a 12-year-old, boys and girls will mature, and their maturity levels depend not just on their environmental influences, but it has a lot to do with biology. It has a lot to do with testosterone and estrogen. And that's a fact people don't want to talk about. It's a hormone, a very powerful hormone that affects your behavior. Whether you agree or disagree with it, that hormone affects how you behave. And as you mature, the behavior of both boys and girls is different because of that hormone. And girls simply do not emotionally mature after about 15, 14 years old. That's it. It's done. And it's an incredible balance with biology in the fact that women also mature quicker biologically. Okay? A 12-year-old girl has tits and is ready to menstruate. That's a biological fact. You can't deny it. A boy can't. He'll shoot blanks, and he's not biologically a man yet. He might have some peach fuzz on his face, but that's it. I mean, it's a huge difference, and that's a difference that nobody wants to talk about, but it's real. The woman that you marry, if you married a woman tomorrow at 35, 40 years old, she in her biological hormone-driven mind still has the mental capacity emotionally of a 15-year-old girl. 100%. And that's
great, man.
And that's why in Asia, that's why they want to push them off. That's why they want, okay, get out of my house. I don't want a kid in my house anymore. I'm going to pass off my burden to another man who's willing to take it on. Red pill millennial, doesn't matter what age.
I don't know. I mean,
again, I've seen it. I've seen it as a teacher. I've seen the temper tantrums of a 13-year-old girl, and there's no difference between that and the temper tantrums of a 35-year-old woman. There's no difference. They biologically evolve faster than men, and they emotionally evolve faster than men, but they stop at a certain age and they don't go beyond it. That's life. That's reality.
Yeah, there's still, at the end of the day, there's still individual and there's group think and everything else. So certain individuals can sneak through the gates. Same as with men. Even myself, I'm not doing enough for my community of men, my friends, other men. I'm not doing enough as far as like existing on this fucking flat earth or this spinning globe or whatever we live on. I'm just not doing enough, and I'm still alive. I should be doing more, but I got caught up in the emotional shit that got brought into my life basically by relationships with women.
Well,
and that's okay. That's okay because I'm not going to trade that because it's weird how I don't talk about this much, but I'm totally straight. I get along with rainbow people. I get along with all colors and creeds. I'm not racist. I'm not anything really on those levels. But I have a lot of male friends. And I'm not like the dominant male who has to be the hero of his group or whatever. I'm kind of a nomad. I'm like a lone wolf, but I get along really well with other alpha males and beta males and whatever kind of male is out there. But I never want to fuck them. I'm never attracted to a man, so that's how I know I'm straight, right? So that kind of leaves me in a certain group, because some people, like, they get swayed, or they think about it, or they wonder. And so it's not just men and women now, it's like all these other people, because I hang out with gay people. I have some gay friends and their parents, like, my friend from Lethbridge there, that lady, and the hairdressers there in Lethbridge. And there's like trannies around. There's lots of different types of these people, and they're just people. Because I'm always been confident that I'm not going to be persuaded to, like, start sucking a cock, right? So for me, the only option left is women, and I haven't even kissed a woman in 3 years since my separation and this thing with my kids and court battle and all this stuff. Like, I've kind of just stopped everything, and I'm like not even really going my own way though. I'm just kind of like stuck. And I was never stuck before, and I'm actually really stuck trying to figure out, well, if I can't, because I actually literally can go my own way. The woman only wants her and her family to raise the kids. I moved to the town she lives in for 2.5 years here, trying to raise the kids with her. She's taking me to hell and back, still doesn't let me see the kids barely. I live 5 minutes away. So what's left for me? I'll go my own way. And I'm like, well, I used to go my own way when I was with her and when I had kids. Like, I'm a musician, I play shows, I hang out with my friends, I come home, I was a good dad, a decent boyfriend, because no one's perfect. But I mean, I worked, I had a job, all that stuff. But now I'm just stuck in this fucking gray area, and I'm like, go your own way. I keep hearing that, right? And I'm like, damn, now I actually can go my own way, because I'm not even allowed to have the responsibilities that I want to have for my children. So I'm actually, and I don't have a woman, so I'm actually like standing there by myself with a dog, like Mad Max and his little Australian healer there, and I can go anywhere. I can do anything I want, and I'm scared, and I don't want to be scared anymore. That's kind of why I listen to your shows sometimes and try and figure shit out, right? Well, so that's why I'm coming back to live. That's why I'm coming back,
Yeah, I understand that. And one of the reasons why you can't completely go your own way is because you got that woman pregnant. And this is not a cut at you or your experience, because I've been through the same shit. I mean,
I'm saying I actually can, because this woman, she's not sharing my own children with me. I fought for 3 years in court. I've lived in this town for 2 years, right beside her house pretty much, and I only see my kids 3 days a month. My kids are going through hell emotionally and everything else because they want their daddy more. I've been financially fucked. A bunch of things have happened in this town I'm living in, with her family living here and her. And I moved here just so I could be a dad, not so I could get back with her.
I know.
I just wanted to be a friend. But my point is, no, she's taking it all away, man. It still happens. She's taking everything away. And so I'm like, okay, I actually can go my own way. I mean, my kids will catch up to me. I'll still see them long distance parenting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I can't go through this personal torture anymore. So I actually can go my own way, because when I moved back there, first of all, I don't have a woman. I don't have a new woman. I don't have my ex. I'm not even able to raise my kids the way I want to, which is every day. I've been trying for 3 years. So I actually can pick up my guitar, walk my dog, have a full-time job, start buy myself a new pair of shoes, start communicating with people again out in society, and not thinking that I'm actually just like, I'm a fucking puppet or whatever. So I can go my own way. I am. That's the point. I just don't know which way to go, because I've been stuck in this position for 3 years. So I'm like, I'm about to go my own way, and I want to be happy about it. I want to find something that makes me strong, because if I'm not strong, my kids won't have me in 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm 45 years old. I need to start taking care of myself.
Well,
right?
and yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything you've said. And the sad part about it is that you've been pushed into a corner where that's the only choice you have. And I mean, that's why MGTOW exists. It exists because men have been pushed into a corner where they have no other choice. It's death or continue living. I mean, for a person in your position, that's really what it comes down to. And so many men have chosen the route of death. And it's a statistics. It's real. It's men killing themselves. That's all they are now. Is you can make a choice. Continue to live and deal with the bullshit that has been presented to you, not just by feminism, but by society in general. by a gynocentric society in general, or you slit your wrists, or you hang from a rope. And a lot of men take that second option. And it's sad. And nobody cares. I mean, nobody gives a fuck that the male suicide rate is 4 times higher than than women. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's trying to address it. Nobody's trying to look for the root or the cause of that problem. Because you're disposable.
Right, but that's an old war lesson. Though anyone who has a grandfather who was in the war that survived or didn't and had to go through, whatever, an uncle, and dealing with that, not really understanding what what's going on there. That's the same thing. It's like we've always been disposable, and I don't make this argument against feminists or against women, but I do. It's as 45. I'm 45. After talking to you for years and years and starting to really look around and see what's going on out there outside of my own personal experience, outside of my own town and my own city and my own country, and going, holy shit, man, like the common denominator, which is crazy, is that somehow, because I guess it's biological supposedly, but I don't think any biological male really wants to go to war and chop another man's head off just so he can put bread on the table of his own fucking kids, even though that's been happening supposedly throughout history. I still don't think that even some alpha male out there that wants to take care of his family and himself ever wants to go off and destroy someone else's family in order to take care of his own. I mean, it's a pretty fucking crazy thought process.
Absolutely.
So somebody got us to that point.
Well, part of that point that you're making is that you got to remember, one of the reasons men go off and kill each other is because they're protecting their women and children. And like you said, men have always been disposable. And this is part of the kind of awakening of a lot of men in the 21st century.
I'm going to bring this to light because I know that you used to own a dog called King, and you loved him a lot. Mm-hmm. Dogs have been disposable as well, protecting those men in wars, in private stuff, and those women and kids. Like other animals, I've never heard of too many battle cats going out there, or mice or hamsters or fish. But dogs, they stand on the front line with men who have sacrificed their lives too for the family, for whoever,
So how does it make you feel knowing that you are basically just an animal? In the eyes of society and women, you're just an animal to sacrifice your life in order to preserve theirs.
It wants me to take hold of my own animal and use it for my own benefit and go my own way, but that's impossible because of all the restrictions put upon me as a male in society, even in Western Canada.
A chained dog. You're a chained dog.
Especially if you're like not a meek-looking character who's very outspoken and well-spoken and who's not afraid to, step up and fight the government. I mean, or whoever. Like, it's like, especially if you're someone like that, you still get chained up, man. There's no glory in being a fucking hero these days. Like, no, you just get chained up anyway, unless you save a tranny from getting hit by a train or something. Then all of a sudden you're the town hero.
Well, for the listeners, my companion here is very intimidating to look at. He's a large man. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not whoever. I'm just like a big dude with tattoos. Never been to prison, but doesn't matter. People. Yeah, but you got a full head of hair. Yeah. You're a large man. You're intimidating. But you've been made to be meek. There's a yoke around your neck and a chain tied to it, and it's being pulled to you. Dude, I've been saying this to myself for fucking 2 decades. I'm a fucking warrior without a sword because I'm not allowed to brandish a sword in Canada. So what did I do instead? Just this last year, I was working at this wood shop or whatever, like in a home hardware wood shop, and I would spend my lunch breaks, and I would build my own weapons. And I never did this before. So I built myself a giant wizard staff, like a 7-foot staff, weighted on one end with carvings on it and stuff. Then I built myself a fucking big broadsword
out of wood, of course. I built myself some nunchucks, and I've never used these weapons, but I have them in my house. But they're made of wood because I'm not allowed to brandish a real sword
Yeah.
as a warrior. So I have to make myself wooden weapons.
Well, and saying that, you're also part of a special group of men that not only didn't kill themselves, but didn't fucking brandish a weapon and kill other people. But this is what's happening, man. And these there's a reason why this is happening. There's a reason why men are the lion's share of suicides. 4 times that of women. There's a reason why it's men picking up a gun and shooting up an audience of people. There's a reason for that. But nobody wants to fucking address the reason why it's happening. Nobody. And it's fucking sad. And that's why we're here.
Because biologically, I mean, in every other way, emotionally, a man has a thing inside of him that, I mean, it's a fucking the warrior's calling. It's like you want to do, that's just what it is. But when you're not allowed to do that, and you're put into a simp position or a white knight position when you don't want to be that way, or anything, you just want to be you. When you're not allowed to be, you're supposed to be a milder version of a man. You're not allowed to raise your voice to a woman. You're not allowed to raise your voice to your kids. You're not allowed to be that male influence anymore. Even though I remember like 25 years ago, my stepdad used to fucking hit me and fucking yell at me, and he was only my stepdad. And that was the wrong way to do it.
Well, he was a stepdad, man.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, the lot was happening to lots of kids, and lots of people do that. But at the end of the day, if nobody else ever slapped me, because after my stepdad, he slapped me and fucking acted tough to me when I was a kid. Once I turned 15 and I hit 6 foot tall, 170 pounds at 15, and then all of a sudden now I'm me now. I never have issues. No one fucking slaps me.
Yeah. Nobody.
I mean, women have slapped. Women have slapped me. My ex slapped me. Women have done it.
Okay,
for sure.
Here's a question.
But no men.
Why do you think women slap you but men don't?
Because when any girlfriend I've had, most of my relationships lasted 5 years. With my ex, with the kids, 6 years. But even just normal women, because I'm 6'4", I'm a big dude, whatever, kind of imposing.
So why do they slap
you? And then they start dating me, and then we live together, and then they start fucking me, and then all of a sudden, when they get mad at me, because when they're looking up, they have to turn their heads up and look at me, and then they realize that not only am I super tall, but I'm also built like a fucking brick shit house.
Yeah, you're
without
huge.
without being a muscular steroid freak, just a big dude.
Yeah.
So they look up at me, and they can't do anything else because I'm a speaker. They'll yell at me, and then I'll be talking to them in a loud voice.
But why do they slap you and not men? Why don't I? If I'm angry at you, Jeremy, how come I don't walk up to you and slap you in the face?
Well, because I'll knock you out.
Yeah, exactly. But why do women do it?
Well, the reason women fucking do it is, which was even my own mother. Like, I was a big teenager, man, and she used to fucking get angry because I'm so big, and I'm rebelling and defying her and stuff. The only reason they do it because if you're a certain size, it doesn't matter what size of man you are. If you're smaller than them, they fucking hit you even more.
Well, why do they do it?
Why do they do it? Because if they know if I react, well, they know it. And in this day and age, anyway, back in the day, I don't know, but this day and age, if I react, then I'm fucking done for.
Exactly. Women do it because there's no consequence. It's called hypoagency, and society gives that to women. We treat women like children, and they are children. And so we give them that hypoagency of children. And we allow them to get away with things that a mature adult person wouldn't be allowed to get away with. Actually, not adult person, but adult male. We allow women to get away with things that we wouldn't allow adult men to get away with. It's called hypoagency. And this is part of the whole Naywalt narrative. A woman is allowed, and in fact, dig deep and Google women sexual abusers.
Oh, man,
it's insane. Look at women sexual and physical abusers and what they
yeah.
do, and they get away with it. And our legal system allows them to get away with it.
Yeah, especially if you have like an alpha male son, or it's always a son that are getting raped by these fucking teacher women and shit. It's pretty gross.
No, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. We allow women to get away with stuff that a man would never be able to get away with. And this is societal. This is not a fairy tale. This is normal. And that is the definition of a hypo-agency. We give women no agency. We expect them to behave poorly. We're like, oh, she's a woman. Of course she's going to expect poorly, or she's going to behave poorly, and she's going to behave like a child. It's called hypoagency. They have none. There are women raping boys, and they get away with it. They do less time in prison. This is statistical. It is verifiable. It is provable, repeatable, and you can see it. And this is gynocentrism at its maximum. And this is the way we treat women. We treat women like they're children. Why do we treat women like they're children? Because they are fucking children. Mentally and emotionally, they are. That's how they develop.
But saying we, there's so many levels of men, so many levels of discretion, so many levels of power, hierarchy, bosses. You know what? Treating we don't all treat every woman like children.
The law
does. At the end of
does.
the day,
The law does.
No, I understand. But like I said, you need to write a thesis on that and break it down properly, and not in one of these chats. Actually break down how it's really happening. Like the family law. The law system needs to be overhauled 70 years ago.
Well,
I can
break it down in very simple terms. The average man sees the average woman as a child with hypoagency and understands that they don't develop emotionally. And so they're treated like a child. So when prove it to yourself. Go into an audience of people, pick out a woman, and get aggressive with her. When she attacks you, don't physically handle her, but when she attacks you, what is the result? Everyone will come to defend her. Why? Because society sees her hypoagency. She's just a child. She's weak. She's a woman. That's how society reacts. That's how all men react. In fact, if I was in a room with you and a woman back-talked me, and let's say I bitch-slapped her across the face, I wonder if you would be one of the men to defend her. And why would you?
You wonder about that with me, but maybe you should maybe I should pull up my dick then, because you probably shouldn't wonder that. If I know you and I was there and this happened and I looked at the chick, I'd be like, okay, that was a war troll. You got to look at the chicks too. It's like not every woman's built like 115 pounds, blonde hair, green eyes, stand there luscious, and if you slap her, she'll fly away 15 feet across the wall.
No, but I've been punched in the face by women. I have been.
You're missing one thing here. Women and men are now sanctioned to fight like the old fucking Roman gladiator days. It's called the UFC, and there's all these other fighting platforms.
That's part of the hypoagency. They're turning women into men.
So what I'm saying is, what could have happened is you could have went and done and said, you know what, my name is Ayam Serious, and I'm gonna give you a slap here, and she might be one of those new UFC fighters, and she might actually have kicked you in the fucking head, and then choked you out, and then continued to beat on your head, and then I'd be too scared to fucking fight her because she's scary, and then that would be a bad scenario for both of us.
Well, first of all, let's put it this way. First of all, anytime I'm
You ever hear of Chris Cyborg? That woman's scary, man.
Yeah. Well, regardless of that,
UFC. Just saying.
Well, regardless of that, the physical strength, this is a wonderful thing I learned after studying a lot about the biology of men and women is that a young boy at 15 years old, my son is 12, a young boy at 15 is stronger than his mother. That's a biological fact. As myself growing up, my mother was very aggressive and abusive, which is one of the reasons why her marriage failed. She tries.
Yeah, because your dad was an artist.
She tries to blame it on my dad, but I saw it. I witnessed it. Like I was there. I was old enough to see it. I know what happened.
Hey, what do you call that? Like the same way we had that argument about my own dad the other night again, when I'm like, I didn't say my mom was perfect at all, or my, whatever. But I've had some situations in the last couple of years since I've been in my situation, like, because my mom, like, I don't know, I've tried to bring up and talk about some, like what you just explained there, try and talk about some memories that are, like, even at my age now, when I really think about it, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I actually remember something, and then I bring it up to her, and then she says, no, that wasn't me. That didn't happen.
Well, that's hypoagency. That's hypoagency.
And I'm like, what? What the fuck? Are you saying my memories aren't real?
No.
And then she's like, they must not be. And I'm like, what do you mean they must not be? I remember, like, well, no, I was a kid at the time, right? I was a child at the time, so my memory is fairly innocent. Like,
well, this is the thing is that again, I have to go back to my own experience to kind of understand what you're saying. But as a small child, I watched my mother be not physically abusive, but mentally and emotionally abusive to my father, to the point where it became aggressive. And when physical aggression happened, he was always the perpetrator. It didn't matter. She could come at him with a knife and he could just try to defend himself for his life. But it didn't matter. And the police saw it that way. I watched it happen. I remember, man. And I've never reminded my mother of this moment because it's not, I don't need to, but I saw it and I watched it. My father was never physically aggressive unless my mother provoked him to be so. I mean, that's a reality of it. And they get away with it. And the law allows them to. I watched my mother pull out a butcher knife and attack my dad. My dad defended himself for his life. For the love of God. He defended his own life. My mother got on the phone, called the police. Guess who they took away? Wasn't my mom.
No, and your dad only had a guitar in his hand.
Yes. He got taken away, not her.
Well, I've dealt with that in the last 3 years with my own shit, man. Not with no knives or nothing, but even after being separated, even after separation, like shit that's so crazy where it's like, oh, why am I in the back of a cop car? That's crazy.
Exactly.
Why am I spending the night in jail? Why do I have to call a lawyer to get me out of jail when I didn't lift a fucking finger?
You did nothing wrong. But again, this is societal hypoagency to the point where women have no responsibility for their actions. And a lot of men in power, men with badges, accept this. It is societal. It's burned into us through society that women have no agency. There's no responsibility for what they do. And guess why we do that? Because we know deep down they are emotionally children. When a child acts up, if a child came at you with a knife, would you arrest the child? Would you say it's the child's fault? Of course you wouldn't. You try to look towards somebody that has agency, that has responsibility, or how society perceives responsibility would be. And we do that with women all the fucking time, and they love it. Women love their hypoagency. They love it to the point where they will exploit it, because they're not, in reality, they're not children. They have a mind, but they know what they're doing. A child might not know what it's doing, and we can forgive that child for what it has done based on the fact that it's a child. But we treat women like adult children in the law, in our behavior, in the way we talk and think. It's incredible. It needs to stop. You know, and that's why I don't allow women into the chats. Well, one of the reasons why. I don't want them here. I don't want their hypoagency. I don't want their childlike mentality. I don't want it to cause problems. And it's the same reason why on social media, when a man, let's say on Facebook or some social media platform, if a man approaches me in that same manner, if he approaches me like a child, I block him. I don't want you to be a part of my conversation, because I know where it leads. If you treat an adult like a child, this is what the system creates. It creates feminism, and as a result, it creates us, MGTOW men. And that's why no quarter for women. And that's why I endorse telling the IRS that women are fucking selling their body for money and not paying taxes. Do it. Fuck them.
That's impressive.
Well, look, let's turn off the stream. Let's call it a night. We've had a good conversation. Thank you, listeners. Greg Q, Red Pill Millennial, MGTOW Warrior still in there. Thank you so much. Again, I'll be back on Friday night. I believe we're doing a stream this Friday, whatever date that is. Fuck, I don't even know what date that is. It's the 30th. We're going to have a stream, and I believe we're going to deconstruct Sam Vankin again this coming Friday. And I hope you guys are all there. I appreciate you coming on and listening to our failed experiment with the new software. Again, this was a test. But thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys again on Friday night. Anything to say, Messenger?
Good night, Room. Good night, Room. The people. I understand the when you go on live streams and stuff, and people are spending their time listening. I listen to lots of podcasts and this and that. I don't care if it's fucking one person. It's respectable to spend time with people, and I know they're out. Like, I know all these guys are out there somewhere, even though they're just names on the screen. I totally understand these guys are out there living their own fucking lives, and I respect the spending some time with people I don't know personally. So yeah, have a great night. Have a great night. Yeah.
No, these are people that listen and pay attention, and I appreciate them as men, and that's why I have this channel open, is for men. I want men to come on here and talk. That's what I want. I just want them to come on and just say, hello, I'm here, this is my opinion. Right? That's it. There's very little space for men anymore. So I really appreciate you guys. Rusky, good to hear you. Rusky likes to hear what Messenger's saying. MGTOW for life, brothers. Pay attention.
Well, there might be some more space for men if the Earth's flat, then there's some more land out there, so there might be some more space for men. Remember that word.
Yeah, there's enough space for us somewhere. All right, I appreciate you guys listening. I'll see you guys again on Friday night. That's the scheduled stream with Lamprey, and we're going to deconstruct Mr. Vankin again. So be safe, be wise, brothers. We'll see you again.